Hello to all my friends and subscribers. Today I'm working on this mammoth beast of a chart, which is called Riverwalk Charm. And I haven't been bringing this one out very much, to be honest, because I've been kind of focusing on the other ones that I've been working on. So I think it's actually quite a privilege. It's actually quite nice to bring it out again and work on it a little bit more. I was a little bit unsure about the blend, to be honest, when I started seeing it come together. But I think I've since changed my mind, and I kind of hop back and forth a little bit from feeling up to doing it and not. And think maybe it could actually be that the size is daunting. And sometimes when the size is daunting, you find yourself a little bit more reluctant to do it. I don't know. It's possibly that, or the fact that I just got stuck in doing this whole sky bit. I've kind of moved the Q-snap now so I can work a bit down here again, because I had it all sort of positioned in a way that this was blocked off from here down. But I like seeing this lovely burst of colour, so I want to keep it this way for a little while to see if it boosts my interest. It just seems like such a big one to finish that I think, oh, you know, it takes me one session to do a couple of these little squares. But, you know, when I get into it, I actually really enjoy it. So I don't know why I complain so much, because once I get into it, I do find myself liking the chart more than I did when I put it away. So anyway, that's my explanation. So let's get started. And I think I'm going to carry on down this little part here and just finish this little row. So let's see. I do really want to get, well, definitely not a finish, because I'm not going to get anywhere near a finish with this particular chart, but I definitely like to get down to where I think it's a shop, is it? Yeah, there's like a little sign of a shop here and some tables and chairs. So I think I'd like to get down to that part, and I think that's going to look nice, be quite interesting. So where am I parking? That's the problem when you've got so many parked threads. You start to, okay, I've already got one parked there, so that means that I can get rid of this colour. When you get loads of parked threads, it kind of puts you off a little bit, because you can't see the holes. And I think that's what happened to me recently at some point, and then I just got a bit crazy and went and did some cross country. And then I decided, oh no, this is just too random for me. I have to go back to do my parking. So I don't know about you, but if you've ever gone cross country and then decided to go back and do the parking method, I don't know, it's just, it doesn't work very well. Let's put it that way. It's much easier to go from parking status to cross country status than back again, because once you've gone cross country, it is just higgledy-piggledy, and you have to start skipping over stitches that you've already done, and it makes it all really confusing. But hey, I call it an adventure. This is all an adventure. Of course, the more you do this parking business, the quicker it actually gets for you. I just don't have a good method of dealing with all the confetti. At least like this, I feel like I'm completing whole sections as I go, as opposed to having to go back and fill in lots of little grey areas. I found that quite irritating, having to go back and fill in all the empty gaps. I just didn't want to do it. So parking is not for everybody, that's for sure. But neither is cross country. So we all come back to the same point of it being a personal choice. And that is the best way to look at it, I think. Personal choice. Do what you're comfortable with. get the job done. That's it. Because if you're not enjoying it, I think you have to keep analysing whether you're enjoying something or not. If you're not, then you have to analyse why not. And then it will become a bit of a headache. Okay, so no more analysis. Let's just get a few rows down. Because I think you can't help but getting caught up in a lot of discussions about stuff. And sometimes you're reading these discussions and you're thinking, well, I don't know whether I actually agree with them or not. I haven't got a clue. You kind of do agree and don't agree, and then sometimes you don't even know whether you agree. It's quite amusing. The nice thing is that, you know, when you decide you want to come back to something like this, it's just sitting there waiting for you. It's not even like complaining that it's been stuck in a cupboard for a couple of weeks or months, or I know some people have put some charts away for years and then dug them out again, which I just find brilliant. It's just amazing, you know. And I don't want to take this one out of my rotation, really, because it is nice, isn't it? I mean, am I wrong? Or am I too analytical? Am I staring at it too much? I think in some lights, I'm not sure. And then I bring it out again and I think, you know what? It is actually really quite impressive. I've put already quite a bit of work into this one. So tell me, what do you think? Do you think it's looking good? I have to say, I'm glad I chose this easy count for this chart because of the fact that it's so big. I'd have had difficulty, I think, with a non-gridded fabric, because I don't really like gridding them myself. I'm not that good. So we have hit the weekend once again, and is it going to be different to any other weekend? Not much. Still having this lockdown fun, which is no longer fun, and trying to keep my son from driving me crazy and driving himself crazy has been a bit of a challenge. And I do feel sorry for those with really small kids, and the lockdown as well. It must be so hard. Goodness knows it's been difficult enough to cope with it without having young children to contend with as well. All that worry and everything. And I've been feeling okay, just getting a few twinges with sinusitis and allergies and stuff like that. I suppose time of year isn't great, spring, and getting twinges and sneezing fits and stuff. And I don't have any pets, not because I don't love them, but I just don't have pets at the moment. So I can't be blaming pets for causing symptoms. And I do keep things relatively dust free, so goodness knows. But yeah, some nights it's a little bit difficult to settle when your nose is itching or you're sneezing a lot, your eyes are sore, you know, all that stuff. It's all related. See, there's a lot of confetti in this square. just having a sip of my tea. And if you see my mug, it says, knitting keeps me from unravelling. I didn't find one that said cross stitch keeps me from unravelling. I suppose I could have made one that said that. This one was a gift because I also knit. And I'm not sure if knitting does keep me from unravelling because I just unravel anyway. But I tell you one thing that has kept me sane is actually taking time out to relax. Not just with the cross stitch, but listening to apps that have this kind of soft music and just lying back and not worrying about things and just saying to myself, you're not going to worry about anything tonight. You're just going to let all those thoughts disappear and listen, just listen to this music. And that's really worked for me, because I'm the type of person that my brain just goes into any direction, the monkey brain as they call it, and it's a constant battle to keep my brain from overthinking, which inevitably turns into some sort of emotional onslaught, and then we can end up with tears and whatever. So, you know, thinking about sad things that have happened and people that I've loved and lost, and then it just ends up in a complete misery fest, and it doesn't actually do me any good. So I think, well, you know, tomorrow is still going to come, regardless of whether you're crying now or you're not. You're still going to have to deal with the next day. So why are you making yourself unhappy? Just relax and enjoy, try and enjoy the moment instead of letting your sad thoughts overtake you. And I think that's what it is. I think it's, if we allow sad thoughts to overtake us, they actually do just overtake us, and they take control of your body and your mind. I do believe in that. Thoughts are a very powerful thing. So yeah, thinking about thoughts is, it's a bit ironic, isn't it? Thinking about what your thoughts are making you feel. So this one I'm going to park quite a bit down. I'm being brave. I've been getting braver with my parking recently, and I've been doing long jumps, which I think I was saying in one of my videos that I wasn't going to do long jumps, and inevitably I end up doing what I say I'm not going to do. So because this has got so much confetti, I think that doing one square of 10 by 10 is enough in one session. I think by the time you've got to the end of that square with all the confetti, your brain needs something a bit looser, a bit less focused, a bit freer, where you can actually stitch a few stitches in a row. So I've decided that when I take on any project, it doesn't have to be this one, and I'm working on something that's got a lot of confetti, I will then switch after about an hour, or after I've finished one square, onto something and that hasn't got confetti. And I think that's been my new endeavour, because I feel like a few times I've sat doing confetti for about 4 or 5 hours, and then I've just wanted to murder the piece at the end, and I want to pull my hair out and just throw it out the window. I don't know, I just feel like I've just had too much of it. So I've had to sit and think of the solution, and I think the solution came to me of just saying, okay, well, do your 100 squares, get a little bit of progress on it, and then move on, or do something completely different, like go and knit, and that's good too. So I'll go and knit, and which is a completely different type of, you know, movement for the hands and everything. And then the next day I'm like, oh, well, you know, I feel okay now. I feel like I can go back to doing a little bit more confetti or whatever. But I think the point is not to burn yourself out on it. That's it. Yeah, burn yourself out. You know, you can. I think you can do that because you want to get progress. And I think with confetti, you feel like you're not really getting progress, so you keep going and going and going until you, yeah, kind of burn out, and then you never want to see the piece again. And I think there's some people out there that really love confetti. So if that's you, hands up and tell me, why do you love confetti? Is it because it makes it more interesting? Oh, I've got a little knot in this one. Why do we get knots for no reason? Do you know what? I think I might just cut it where the knot is. Save myself the hassle. I don't really like wasting thread, but sometimes I'd prefer to waste a bit of thread than lose my sanity. There we go. Oh, and now I have to end the thread anyway, you see? Typical. So it's been a lovely day, and it's going to be lovely this weekend, I think. So I might get out and do something like a picnic. I think that might be nice, because it kind of elevates your mood and everything to do something like that, and it's nice time spent with the family. Because, yeah, with the lockdown, I've kind of been feeling like everything's just been too much the same of the same. And with everything being shut, there hasn't been a huge amount of stuff to do. So, yeah, when you've got limited options, it can be very tiring. I mean, I even get tired of doing cross stitch at some points. So I've been going back to reading. What have I done? I've already got a part thread there. I've been going back to my love of reading and reading history books. Historical fiction. So that's what I enjoy doing. And I'm knitting a cable blanket at the moment, which is quite fierce, and I have to really concentrate on that because it's got all different types of cables in it. If you know what a cable is in knitting, it can be simple, but when you've got a lot of them and they're all going in different directions, it's not so simple, and you have to keep track of it. But again, it's a beautiful pattern, so the outcome is going to be amazing. So it's worth kind of, you know, sticking with it. And I've also started a crochet blanket as well. So, you know, I'm not one to shy away from having projects on the go. And as I don't really like this kind of setup in my bed, so I like to do crochet or knitting in my bed because it's just easier to handle than having this big contraption. So beside my bed I have this basket which has got all kinds of wool in, yarn, and it's got my current knitting or crochet project. And then what I do is I can do that in bed, you know, some nights whilst I'm listening to an audio book or something, and then I can just toss it into the basket beside and turn off the light, and that's quite relaxing too. So if I'm having a challenging day or something, then I will look for relaxing things to do that will calm me or help me to feel a bit less stressed. And school starts again next week, so that's kind of stressful and not stressful, because it's kind of nice for school to begin and then you get time back for yourself again, and it just feels like a little bit more normal. And but on the negative side, it's getting everything ready, preparation, uniform, all that kind of stuff. That's a bit stressy. So, yeah. But we keep moving forward, which is good, because at some point during this lockdown, I almost believed that things would never be the same again. And I know logically that makes no sense. But when logic gets mixed with emotion and uncertainty, because we've had a lot of uncertainty, your brain starts to make you think stuff that is probably not quite true or invented. And I think I was kind of believing that things were just going down, 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 and it was hard to stay up, you know, in mood, and it was hard to stay positive. It was hard to think positively, let's say. But I think since the vaccines came along, it has completely changed everything, and now we're on a different trajectory. We're on a path of things moving out back into the sunlight, moving forwards into a better zone. And I think I much prefer to be in that zone than the one I was in this time last year, when nobody had a clue, you know, what way this virus was going, whether we were ever going to get a vaccine for it. Nobody really knew what was going on. There was a lot of different things being said everywhere. Everybody had different opinions, and that's quite tough. That's quite tough on you, you know. And then you start to wonder whether you should actually believe everything you hear, or whether you just take it as, you know, people hypothesizing about what's happening. Oh, I think I'm going in the wrong direction now, so I should be going this way. I'll go this way. You know, when you're stuck in a square of full confetti, to actually have a choice of which end of row to start with is a blessing. At least you get that. Like I've said before, I have this kind of love-hate relationship with parking. I go to it as my normal setup, and I like the way it looks and everything, and I enjoy the uniformity of it. But there are times when I'll just curse it like hell as well. So yeah, love-hate, definitely. But as you can see, I'm pretty comfortable with it. I won't deny that. I'm pretty comfortable with that I can practically do something else, like listen to an audiobook or read something and be doing this, because there's less counting for me than there is in other methods. I think I can just end that thread, because I like to watch a good movie, or I like to watch something that interests me, and sometimes be stitching as well. So I need it to be, if I was to do cross country, I'd have to think about which direction I'm going in, and I wouldn't be able to watch TV at the same time. So actually, with this parking, I'm only going in a row, so it's less to work out, and therefore, yeah, I can watch that movie, I can watch whatever on TV. I have rarely, if ever, frogged when I'm parking, because that frog is just not welcome in my place. So now I'm really enjoying this chart again. I think it's just that thing of, when I pick it out and I look at it and think, there's so much left to do on this one, it kind of spoils my mood. But once I start doing it and I see a little progress, then my good mood, my positivity about it returns. Because this chart, this design is so big, I'm not sure which direction to go with it. So my choices are that I continue downwards, or I go right, move everything and continue right. I think I want to get to that sign and that lovely little table and chairs at the bottom, where I think I would love to be sitting now with a nice cool icy drink, with the sun warming the side of my face. That sounds like heaven to me. I mean, the cafes haven't even opened here yet, so I won't have the luxury of sitting outside a cafe for a few weeks yet, but I'll be patient. I can always buy a drink. That's what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go for a picnic. Like the bears in the woods, I'm going to go on a picnic. I'm going to take some nice sandwiches and nice drinks and snacks, and I'm going to just sit in a sunny spot and just enjoy the moment. That for me sounds like heaven. I might take a book with me. So how far along are you getting on your current patterns? I know some of you have been commenting and telling me that you've started your heaven and earth design. So how is that going? Are you happy with it? Are you enjoying it? It's like a big commitment, isn't it? it's a big commitment and it takes up a lot of time, so you have to be enjoying it. I absolutely agree with that, which is why I'm constantly analysing whether I'm enjoying what I'm doing or not. And sometimes I think you can overanalyze to the point where you start to convince yourself of something that isn't actually correct. It's the best way I can put it. I think sometimes rather than analysing, you can just rely on your instinct, and if your instinct tells you how you feel, then that's probably a better, more reliable method. For instance, if I was to just go and instead of having a rotation of my works in progress, if I was to go and what have I done? Why have I got 3 there? 1, 2, I've done that one. Oops, just interrupted myself. If I was to rely on picking out the whip that I was leaning towards rather than chosen because they're on my rotation list, because I know some of us have got written lists of which ones they're doing which day, etc. So if I just relied on, randomly picking the ones that I want, for instance, I left one out all the time, then that would be an indication that I'm not enjoying that one. Then I have to analyse, well, why am I not enjoying that one? Sometimes your instincts can just tell you exactly what you need to know rather than trying to analyse it. As always, I try to be logical about things. I'm a very figure-outy person. I like to figure things out. Figure-outy. That's my word of the day. Don't get all tangled up now, please. We've been doing so well together. Yeah, that's a square done, more or less. It's 1 square minus 1 row. Pretty pleased with that. There are so many patterns that I would love to do that I have to be realistic about it and realise that I'm not going to do the majority of them in my lifetime. So it's best to just acknowledge that, I think. And just do the ones that really speak to me, because sometimes some of them really do speak to me. And I think it's also true that sometimes you can buy a chart and then later on think, oh, I'm not sure I like it as much as I did when I bought it. I don't know if that's happened to you or... Oh, what's going on here? I seem to have the wrong colour in that colour. Oh God, I've done this again. I've parked in the wrong hole. The easiest thing to do is to repark in the right hole ASAP before doing anything else. Otherwise, you will spend half an hour trying to figure this out and it will drive you completely mad. So just park in the right place as quickly as you can. And I'm just going to finish this row. Because another strange and silly thing I do is I don't like to go off mid-row. There's absolutely no reason why that should be a problem, but somewhere in my brain it's a problem. So for some reason, unbeknown to me, I like to finish the row before I go off. I think the word for it is orderly. I like to be orderly. Is that right? I don't know. Maybe it's crazy too. I don't mind being a little bit crazy. It adds a bit of interest to one's life. I think if you're very orderly, it would do well to be a little bit crazy, because being orderly and doing things methodically can be a bit boring. So, you know, we've got to live it up a little in different ways. So I'm not going to stop this now until I've got to the end of the row. Just because. And see, sometimes I really get into it and then I want to actually carry on with it, but I feel like, oh, I should move on to something else, but no. I think if I'm enjoying something, I'm just going to carry on with it. Because you see, all my whips are like in a box and they all start jumping up and down, shouting, pick me, like the donkey in Shrek. And, you know, you just want to go and tell them all to shut up. I really just want to do the one I want to do. And that's my square done today. So yes, progress has been made. So I've done this little square here, which in the scheme of things doesn't look like much, but in the, you know, in reality, it is quite a bit. It's a whole square of 100 stitches and I'm happy with that. And I'm going to come back and do this one again a bit later. I'm going to finish down to the bottom, all this section a bit further down, so I can get to that lovely little sign that we have with the little cute table and chairs that I imagine myself sitting at, drinking tea or an iced drink. I really fancy that at the moment. Lovely drink, say lemonade with ice cubes, and just watching the world go by. There's a tiny little shape of a person in the distance there, which I never noticed before. I only noticed that recently, and it'll probably look like a blob when I've done it on here. But I know deep inside that that is a person, and that person is me, coming along to sit down there and have my cold drink in the sun in that cafeteria. So you see, I'm inventing all this, but I'm really enjoying it. And that's where we're heading. We're heading down to there. So I have to say thank you once again for stitching with me and listening to my craziness. It's always a pleasure, always a joy to do these videos with you. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your stitching weekend and have a wonderful weekend wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Stay safe and take care. And I'll see you soon.